All right. Mic check. I'm good. So I'm Max Ceron. CWB Association Welding podcast. Today we have a really cool guest. Welding podcast.
The show is about to begin.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the CWB Association podcast. My name is Max Ceron, and here we are in sunny Florida at Fabtech 2024. We have been having a great time. As you can tell by my voice, I have been going hard, as always, talking to the people here and doing all the events and getting out and doing all that wonderful networking. This morning, we have a wonderful Canadian lady here with us, Haley Kontenis. She's going to talk to us about her trip here to Fabtech. Haley, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Lots to see. It's been very exciting.
You sound much better than I do.
I've been trying to pace myself. Not actually doing a great job. There's so much to see. It's been so exciting.
Yeah, so you have been on the podcast before. You know, we talked about your journey in the trades and how you got into it. We talked about being a woman in the trades. But now you're at Fabtech in Orlando. What happened from then to now to kind of get you in this spot?
Just taking it one step at a time, one day at a time, honestly. I've bounced a few different companies. I feel like I've got a much better range of
Skills.
Yeah, skills in the industry. I've now worked in all kinds of different fields. So I've done everything from very small machinery, TIG welding, to now I'm all the way up at structural, where I'm doing beams and columns and just big structures, which is really cool to see that side.
Yeah, I like the big stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's where the money is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been nice to see that side of everything, especially when I started my career, I didn't have much of that. The biggest things that I dealt with were like far and few in between, bigger jobs, right, one-offs. And now I'm at a company where that's all they do. So it's nice to see different areas of the trade, yeah.
So it's been about a year and a half, I think, since I interviewed you, maybe even 2 years.
I think it's been at least 2 years, yeah. It's been a while.
In those 2 years, what have you been doing to advance your skill set? Like, what have you been working on?
I am working on my Red Seal. So
Awesome.
that is hopefully getting finalized this winter. We will see. Fingers crossed. I'm hoping to get the last few pieces in place over the next few months so that I can hopefully get that written, over the winter. Over time, it's just been, like I said, one step at a time. I've gone from company to company where it's just, what can I do next? Okay, can I reach out to this person, reach out to these? I find that Instagram is a nice tool for that.
For sure.
Yeah, that's how I'm here at Fabtech, right? They wanted me here, and I'm so happy to be here.
Well, that was going to be my next question, is how did the connection between you and Fabtech? You know, they're an American company. They're basically groups, SME, FMA, all these groups. They're all American.
Yeah.
How does Haley get on the radar?
I don't know. I guess they wanted to see a Canadian here to get that kind of
Perspective.
Yes, exactly. They reached out to me, and I was more than thrilled.
Oh, for sure.
More than thrilled. I was like, and Orlando? What an honor, right?
Mm-hmm.
They reached out to me, and they said, like, we don't really have many Canadians attending. We would love to have you to help promote us and give your insight. So they reached out, and I was right on board, and it's been so awesome.
So what does that look like for you in terms of work? You know, they say, hey, Haley, we want you to come down to Orlando. Here's your plane ticket.
Yep.
Here's a hotel.
Yep.
There's something you got to give back.
Oh,
right?
of course.
So what are those things that you have to do this week, as part of your gig?
Fair enough. So leading up was most of the work that I've had to do. So getting everything prepared. They gave me a general guideline when we signed our contract, just being like, okay, we'd like XYZ deliverables. We got everything sorted, and I've done, I think, 3 posts leading up to
I've
Fabtech.
seen them like the pre. I'll be there.
I've been so excited, right? That's all they wanted to see, is that another Canadian's coming out. I tried to get some of the Canadians that I know. I reached out to a few of them personally just to be like, hey, am I going to get to see you there? Like, it'd be so awesome if I could try and find me. But on top of that, I have one left to do that will probably be done after this. I'd like to get a little bit of content with you guys today, and then I can make my post, right?
Yeah.
And then, after that, I am coasting, and I get to just continue networking and just enjoying.
How much of the floor have you been able to experience?
Pretty much all.
Really?
I did a really big day yesterday. I did
Yeah.
at least double the amount of steps that I normally do. It was a long day yesterday, but I wanted to get a good base yesterday so that now I know where things are. Because I did find, so I did my research to try and figure out
look
where.
at the map.
Yeah. Oh my God, the amount of times I looked at that map,
Yeah,
right? Because there's just so much to see. There's so many cool people to, and you know that you're never going to see all of them when you come to a convention like this. But to know who the moneymakers are, the people that you want to network with. I did have another few meetings, like just smaller, like we'd really love to come and see, like if you could come by between this time. So I did a few of those yesterday. I've done all of the West Building and all of the South Building.
Holy. We did like 10 minutes yesterday.
Yes, but you've been busy working
yeah,
here,
we've
right?
been doing all the things, but I went and checked the CWB booth. I was like, I should go look at them. You know, I work there. And they were doing good, but literally then they were like shutting the lights off. It's like, oh, I guess we're done.
Yeah,
but,
end of the day, right?
I think tomorrow we'll have time to walk around. Not today. Today's going to be really busy again.
That's fair. Unfortunately, I actually don't get to attend tomorrow. I do have to now fly home in the afternoon, and I think it'll just be a little bit too crowded. I tried to get a late flight, but no luck. It's right in the middle of the afternoon, so
the
it is what
flights
it
in
is.
and out were crazy. We booked way long time ago. We were so concerned that our flights were going to get changed, but somehow nothing
Got
did.
lucky, yes.
Yeah,
We all
and
got very
but we
lucky.
don't leave till Friday.
Nice.
But with all the events going on, how do you feel now being here at Fabtech and starting to see the size? Because that throws people off, first of all, because it is huge. Number two, Orlando, this convention center is spread out like crazy.
Yeah, the walk's, 20 minutes?
Yeah, it's a lot of
Between
walking.
buildings?
Yeah. What's kind of, inspired you or really like shook you the most being here, like in terms of all the stuff?
Honestly, all the automation. It's
Yeah.
been so cool to see. Like, I obviously know that the industry is progressing and moving forward, but just to see how much automation and how much people are really leveling up and finding those issues in the trades and working on them and solving those problems has been mind-blowing.
Yeah.
So cool. Like, I've gone all around where it's just like, okay, Lincoln Electric's not just Lincoln Electric to me anymore. Like the way I used to know
they
it,
have
there's so
many
much
other
more.
Pieces, yeah.
There's so much more. And I was talking with so many people that have such cool backgrounds and then have joined this company. So I'm like, okay, well, what did you do to get to here? And just like hearing about these like different stories and stuff like that has been so interesting. Meeting the people that I've met has just been awesome.
Well, once you start walking around, I've said this a few times this week, you see all this amazing equipment and tooling and stuff, and then you go back to your shop, wherever you're from, and you're like, oh.
That's exactly what I'm going to get next week. Because as much as I do like my job and it's cool to see the side that I'm in, it's not a long-term thing, and I know that. I'm honestly, I was even chatting with a few of the people yesterday, and I'm like, I'm ready for that next challenge. I'm ready for that level up. I'm kind of plateauing. I'm kind of getting bored at the same time. I'm trying to learn every little bit I can where I am, because it is cool to see this side of the industry, right? But I'm also like, what else?
Yeah,
I got that itch again, right? And like,
so
I've always,
much more, yeah.
there is this, especially when you come to a place like this, you really see how much more there is.
Yeah.
You see how many different vendors from all over the place there are. I've seen not just the States, the amount of people that have come
China,
from
Turkey, Germany, France, everywhere.
kind of blowing my
Yeah.
mind. I didn't
Yeah.
realize how much there would be for international. Like, it's been incredible.
And they're talking about how the show's a little bit smaller because of the hurricane. A little less people showed up. We noticed a little bit yesterday. We've been to a few, and it's like it looks a little bit smaller just in the walking around. But I feel like whenever it's kind of like that, where it's like something happens, or there's either it's cold or a storm, or even like the COVID year, the people that do come are serious, right? They want to come here, they want to network, they want to talk, they want to get stuff done.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And are you feeling that vibe? Like
I
the
am.
conversations you're having are all like valid. They're all like,
Oh, yeah.
Optimistic.
Yeah. I don't think I've had any light small talk.
Yeah. It's all for real.
It's
yeah.
like maybe a second of it, and then it's, hey, did you see this? And they go off, oh, I saw all this, and what did you think of it? Did you get to check it out yet? And I was like, nope, but now I'm going to.
Yeah.
Right?
Now I care. Yeah.
Now I'm going to go check them out, especially because I've done both buildings now. I've seen I obviously haven't done all of it in depth. It's hard to get everything in
Like,
depth.
have you gone through finishing on this side?
Finishing is actually my today's to-do list. That's
Yeah.
the only kind of area that I didn't get time for as much. I did walk through because I did, like I said, when I say I walked both buildings, I wanted to see
the layout.
the
kinda,
layout.
yeah.
I wanted to see where everything is because it's a huge place, and it's just to see where everything is in real time rather than on a map was really cool because
Well, we got lost yesterday.
I honestly can't blame you. It is nice that they've got all the signs. I found
Yeah.
that anytime I'm kind of like, okay, I don't know where
Look
I'm
up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go to the
Yeah.
center, look up, and you'll see all of these 32, everything going across. And that's been really helpful to just be like, okay, if I see somebody on Instagram that I know, I can pull out my phone. Okay, where did they say they were at? Okay, that's the number. Okay, I'm going to start heading towards that way, look at a few things on my way over. One of my first stops yesterday was at Optrel because I've been with them for like 4 years now. So I went and hung out with them for a little while, saw because Tess was already posting where they were. So I was like, perfect.
Yeah.
First stop, somebody I know, right? Like, this is my first year. So trying to take those baby steps and just go from there, right?
In terms of what you're trying to grow, like you said, you feel like you're plateauing.
A little bit.
Which happens to everyone. It's just part of careers and ebbs and flows. And I was telling you before the show, like, you're so young. Like, your plateau is like one of many that you will have.
Yes.
And there is a sense when you're young to be like, okay, I got to climb, I got to move, I got to be quick. And you can stress yourself out pretty hard getting on that train, right?
Yeah. Got to watch it.
Coming to a Fabtech, that's also something you got to watch because it's like, oh my God, there's so many things that I can do. How, when,
which,
who, which, right?
Which
and what, and you start getting lots of ideas. It's almost like overload, right?
There was a little bit of overstimulation yesterday. At one point, I do remember walking around just like, just like
Just
looking.
like in circles like a pigeon. Like, what's happening?
I ended up stopping for a little bit, took like a half an hour just to myself to be like, okay, regroup and go back. And then I was like so much better after that. But there's so much to see. I find as much as it can be a little bit overstimulating, especially being my first year, I don't see it as scary.
Well, we're all the same community.
Yeah. I feel comfortable as much as it's a lot. It's because it's our industry. And now I've been in the industry for 6 years. So I do understand all these different processes and everything, even if it's something like the robots are a little bit intimidating. I'm not gonna lie, because it's just so interesting. It's so cool.
And you haven't really played with one yet, right?
No, definitely not. I've dealt with all kinds of big machinery at different companies. So when I get to walk around like the South Building and it's Piranha and all these big companies with all these big machines, I already know it.
Yeah, you're like, I know that company. Maybe you don't know that really new thing they brought, but you know what they do.
That's exactly what I was saying yesterday. Yep. I don't know the newest machines, so I chatted with a few of them where it's just like, okay, what do you have that's new? Because I've dealt with a product very similar to this one right over here. What do you got that's newer on this, right? Because maybe the one I worked on was 5 years model older. You know what I mean? So it's been really cool, but also comfortable. I feel like I'm still in my realm, so this has been a really cool experience.
What about the opportunities that you see? How do you start to filter through them in terms of what you like? Because like you're here as a sort of a supporter for Fabtech. You know, we don't like to use the word influencer too much.
Thanks.
Try to find other words for it, but
I like that.
at the end of the day, you're here to empower the industry, and Fabtech is supporting you to do that. There's a job in that. Like, I mean, but that takes you away from welding, right?
Yeah, I do love both sides of it. Honestly, if I could keep doing both at the same time for the rest of my career, that would be the goal.
Yeah.
But there's so many options that, yes, I am at a time in my career where, because I feel like I'm plateauing a little bit and I'm at an event like this, I'm not sure what's next, where I'm going to go. But hopefully with all the contacts that I've made today and yesterday and everything, that maybe I can go home, send out some emails.
Make out a plan.
Yes, do my pro-con list, okay. I've always thought that I would love teaching ever since my first teacher when I was in high school.
Teaching is dope.
Yeah. So
and we need good teachers.
We need teachers. We need more. We need more of the young ones. I haven't seen a ton of. I did see some students yesterday.
Yeah.
But not as much as I think I anticipated to see.
No, Fabtech is not student heavy. No. And I mean, there's an age limit. You can't be under 18 here. So
that's fair. But even still, seeing like the 20-year-olds to 25-year-olds, I found that I was the youngest that I was talking with majority of the day. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? I'm talking to industry leaders, which is why you come to a cool event like this. But I was a little bit surprised that I didn't see more people that were like, okay, young and interested like me, that was just like, I want to come and check this out. Maybe it's the location, maybe it's the storm.
It's the theme of Fabtech. Fabtech is the buyer's market.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
This is a place where, and there is a difference. You know, you do hit on a point, and we were talking about it last night. Chicago is a different show than Atlanta.
Okay.
It's a different show
Different
than
group
Vegas.
of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair
Different
enough.
show than Orlando. This is our first time in Orlando, so we're kind of learning the vibe here. Chicago is very much white collar.
Okay.
Like, so people are owners, CEOs. They're coming to buy $2 million worth of equipment. That's the goal. They're searching for the best deal, and they're wheeling and dealing. Atlanta is more blue collar, a lot more welders, a lot more people in, you know, jean shirts and jeans on. And they're there to buy the orbital welders, the smaller machines, the torch setups. So it is a bit of ebb and flow. But in general, I would say it's not really a student-driven thing.
No.
And I know in Canada, we try to be more student-driven with the colleges.
Maybe that's why I feel that way, because that's where I'm from.
Exactly. And so, like, lots of the conferences that we do in Canada and the things we do with students, there's, like, always a student section. There's always, like, young people that we try to bring in. Fabtech's never really been that. Not to say that there isn't shows in the U.S. that are more student-driven,
Yep, sure.
but it's not really Fabtech. So I think that that's something that I think should be more.
A little bit pushed.
Right.
I think it's something that if Fabtech want to stay with me and hopefully I'm going to come to the next ones regardless if they want me or not.
You're in now.
I'm in now.
You know, there's Fabtech Canada and Fabtech Mexico.
I did see Canada's in Toronto, and I think it's 2026, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. So that'll be so awesome. I'm definitely going to be here year after year. And maybe that's something I can work on them with, and especially if it's going to be in Toronto, seeing as Canada's...
You got the connections.
I've got the connections. It's something that I want to be in. I do love the idea. So I've only had 2 students in my career, but they were the highlights of my entire career so far.
And teaching makes you a better welder.
I think so, yeah, because you're analyzing yourself as well as you're showing. And a lot of the time I really found it like a highlight to me when I was able to say, hey, don't do this because of this, because I've made that mistake before. And I can kind of help them. That
mentorship piece.
Yeah, I can help them take those extra steps forward without having to wait, because they've got somebody that's done it before, that knows it, that can say, hey, watch out for this. Like, this is going to put you back. You do have to learn the hard way sometimes, certain things. Just practice.
Yeah.
Practice.
Yeah, just don't get hurt.
Yes. But to be able to kind of push them that extra little step in the beginning, I think will really set them up for success. And if we can see more of that in future years, that'd be really amazing to see. Because that is something that, like I said, I would love to get myself into. I have always been told, and correct me if I'm wrong, some people have different opinions about it, but when you're going into teaching, it's good to have a really good base of knowledge, like maybe 10 years in the trade, where you've got a good range.
There's a fine line.
Right?
Right, where you want experience.
Yep.
But you don't, and I don't want to be a jerk, right? But you don't really want a teacher that's too old, because they're going to be a little bit maybe disconnected from technology.
Yeah, they've been away from it for too long.
Right, they may have been out for a little bit too long. So you want to catch that unicorn window where it's like they're up-and-comers, they're ambitious, and they want to teach. They also know the technologies. They do the Fabtechs. They go to the conferences. They're still plugged into the industry, right?
Yeah.
The big issue is pay.
Yeah.
That's the big issue.
I do agree.
And it's a bigger issue here in the U.S. We just learned this week.
Oh, really?
What instructors start at here, and it's quite low.
Really?
And eventually in time they get up there, but it would be really hard to pull, say, 26-year-old welder off the floor who's maybe coming up on 100K pretty soon to go teach for half that.
Yeah.
Just because you love to teach.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a big swallow, right?
That's why I say I don't even think I could do just that. I'm also the kind of person where I can't sit still, hence why we're in the trades. I don't think any of us could sit still. I have to be doing multiple things. Like, I even just got my motorcycle this year because I was just like, even in my downtime, I was like, I'm bored. I don't want to sit at home. I want to go out.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way.
So having multiple hobbies, and like Instagram started as a hobby for me. It was just something that I wanted to do, and I could see that there was some advantages to it in the beginning. And now it's grown to something I never could have guessed, and I absolutely love it as a tool. Hence why I'm here today, right? Thanks to that. That's not something that I ever want to stop. And having all these, I've seen so many vendors that I'm like, I would love to work with your product. Like things, then I was making some connections yesterday. And I do hope that some of them come out of that, but then it's like, okay, but also, right?
Yeah. Well, let's take a break now for our sponsors and advertisers, and then they get their message out. Some of them are here at Fabtech, so shout out to them. And we'll be right back here with Haley to talk about Fabtech 2024 and our adventure.
The CWB Association is new and improved and focused on you. We offer a free membership with lots of benefits to anyone interested in joining an association that is passionate about welding. We are committed to educating, informing, and connecting our workforce. Gain access to your free digital publication of the Weld magazine, free online training, conferences, and lots of giveaways. Reach out to your local CWB Association chapter today to connect with other welding professionals and share welding as a trade in your community. Build your career, stay informed, and support the Canadian welding industry. Join today and learn more at cwbassociation.org.
And we are back here on the CWB Association podcast. We're here with Haley here at Fabtech Orlando. It is an adventure here. It is hot. It is humid. My hair is a frizzball. We're having lots of fun. We were talking about how you were using Instagram and you kind of hope to always have that connection to the industry through social media. You come to a Fabtech and you realize that you're one of hundreds of people that are connected to Fabtech almost purely through social media, right? Like there's people at events and they're, hey, you're, Skinny Milk 24 or you whatever. People don't even know people's real names, right?
No, it's funny.
They just know their handles.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because I get that, like, you're Ask Max. It's like, oh, yeah, I guess I am. I kind of forget. But this has been something that you've taken on at some point to say, like, I'm going to be serious about this.
Yeah.
Right?
I do love it.
Is there a fear that you could take too much on? Because I do see that in the industry with some people that work the internet game where they're sponsored by, their hood is sponsored, their gloves are sponsored, their pants are sponsored, their boots are sponsored, their machine's sponsored, right?
Done it.
The whole talk. Is there a too much? Do you think it's, or do you think get your bag if you can get it? Like,
I honestly think it depends on the person.
Yeah.
I mean, my grandmother constantly tells me I'm burning the candles at both ends, but I'm also like, I'm not going to stop because you tell me that.
Yeah,
I honestly, like I said, or before the break, I'm the kind of person that I can't sit still. If I'm at home for more than like 2 days, I'm losing my mind. Like, I'm just like, okay, I need to get out. I need to go on the bike. I need to just do something. Sometimes I find it funny that I'll just be sitting at home and it looks like I'm just doom scrolling. Meanwhile, I'm like looking up different people and trying to network and be like, oh, what are they doing over here? And finding, oh, so-and-so hung out with so-and-so.
And there's a rabbit hole you go down.
Yeah. And honestly, like I said, I can't sit still. My brain can't stop. So I'm the kind of person that I'm sure there is a limit. I mean, I did actually, unfortunately, get sick about 2 weeks ago, and it took me out for about a week.
Yeah.
It was pretty brutal. And I think it was because I was a little bit overstimulated, a little bit over.
You're going to get sick after this conference. It happens to us.
Everybody's telling me that.
Yeah. 5 days, no stopping.
Worth it. No worries.
Your immune system by the end of this week is like, you need to sleep, girl. Like 2 days, don't move. Like,
exactly. Well, thankfully, because I get a little bit of a break because my flight's pretty early tomorrow. So it's just like, okay, I'm going to sleep in a little bit and then go straight to the airport, right?
And then get home and go straight to bed.
Probably. And then sleep for like 2 days. I did take off Friday as well just because I knew that I was going to be pretty burnt out. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to need to rest for the weekend. I didn't plan anything for the weekend, just to knowing and anticipating that.
Same.
I do give myself a break here and there, but
I'm not good at it.
No, it's hard.
I get back Friday afternoon.
So
I was
going
to take the weekend off. I'm back in Toronto Monday.
Okay.
So I only have like a 48-hour turnaround at home. Do some laundry.
That's all I ever really want. Anyways.
Get back on.
Yep.
But then already my friends are like, we should have game night on Saturday. You're in town. I was like, okay. Now I'm doing something. It's like, well, there goes 1 day of rest.
Yeah.
But if you had the opportunity, theoretically, to have a company say, you know what? We want you exclusive. We want you to be the face of our product going forward. We want you to start attending, 5 shows a year. We want you to start getting out there. We want you to start maybe handling a little bit of sales, getting into the other side of the fence, as we say. Would that be something of interest to you? Yeah. Or do you feel like not yet till you get your red seal, till you get a few things out of the way?
Well, considering I'm getting my red seal so soon, is honestly just like final steps right now. It's just I've got everything ready.
Have you done a practice exam yet?
No, but I've got a few bookmarked.
Yeah, okay.
I've got like 3 bookmarked.
Let me know if you need help. I used to teach the red seal program.
I do appreciate that. I honestly probably will reach out to you and right before. But I'm hoping that I can like book the test roughly for early spring or late winter.
It's usually January, February when they do the bookings.
That's when I was hoping for, was about February. and then have that. And then I'm actually going away for March. I'm going for an England trip, which I'm very excited about. It's a family trip, but we've been looking forward to it.
And you like your family, I assume?
A little bit.
It's not like I'm going to England and I'm going to hate it.
No, I'm actually like ridiculously excited.
Yeah, good.
It's for a family wedding, so it's just like we're all going together. I'm very excited for that. But then after that, I know that I'm already going to be like, okay, now what? Like I need something lined up for that. And I know that I always think very far ahead and I always get ahead of myself. I know that.
Yeah.
But at that time,
it's good to manifest, though.
That's kind of what I'm hoping for, is that something in the spring that I can ramp up with. If there was a company that wanted to just exclusive me, I haven't had that yet, where somebody wanted to lock me in. But I would not be opposed to it, especially if I like the company, I like the products.
Yeah, or it's like one of the big players, you know. 'Cause you see some companies are really good with that, like ESAB.
Yes.
Right? ESAB is fantastic. Like they've had Ian Johnson on as an ESAB rep like 15 years.
Yeah, crazy.
You know what I mean? And he's here and he's still doing the things.
Yeah.
And, you know, David Madero's here with ESAB.
Yeah.
So they're a good company.
When you like what you do, right?
Yeah.
Why would you leave?
That's right. Ray with Hypertherm.
Yep.
Like she's been going forever.
Saw her yesterday.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So like, I mean, there are those opportunities that pop up. It's very much based off of, I guess, the street cred. And that's the part where you're going to do well, because you've put in time welding now. Mm-hmm. It's not like you're not like, hey, I just, like the stuff. It's like, no, I can actually throw down, put a hood on and do this.
And
right?
it's nice too. So the company I'm at, we have a good range of people that are very experienced all the way down to don't know the basics, like the common sense kind of things. Mm-hmm. But it's one of those companies that it's such a big company, and you got to get people in on the ground floor and teach them, and they'll stay with the company for a while.
Yeah.
So even here and there, I find it very interesting to kind of jump in and just be like, okay, I'm going to show you baseline things, the things that they're like, oh my God, what? Yeah. Like I never would have thought of that. And I'm like,
it makes it so much easier.
I've just been doing it for 6 years now almost. And it's like, I've done this, I don't know how many times. I'm going to help you with that little step so that you don't have to struggle to figure out the tricks of the trade over the years. Because there's one or two guys that come to my mind that honestly came out of school, got this job, you know? Yeah. And it's like, school's great. It's going to teach you so many things, but those tricks of the trade that you just learn over time. Yeah. I always say to any of those guys, I say, like, the best piece of advice that I was ever given, that I would ever give, find the old guy. Yeah. Find the old guy that's excited still, that, like, he knows that he's nearing the end of his his career. He wants to share. And, like, as long as you're enthusiastic.
Hopefully he wants to share, because some old guys.
Some don't.
Yeah, some don't.
That's fair. But especially when you're in a company like where I am, there's bound to be somebody. Yeah. And hey, maybe it's not the old guy. Maybe it's the 40-year-old that's
super
just
experienced guy.
Yeah, that's been doing this for 20 years. Like that, for me, that's one of my best friends that I've known for about 5 years now. He's taught me so much of what I know. And just because he's done it himself, he's learned the hard way so many times with so many different things, that he's taught me those. And I've absorbed all of them because I'm interested. I like the trade, right? I like being able to solve problems. Yeah. And because of that, I have a good knowledge base that I can then share those little tips and tricks, right?
So do you consider yourself more of a welder or a fabricator? Because your handle's fabricator, right?
Yes, my brain is fabrication. You have to be a good welder in my brain to be a fabricator. Yeah. It is not needed, but it's so helpful, especially when it comes to baseline. So my first job, I don't remember if I told you in the first podcast, my first job was a production job. Yep. It was just super, like, I was actually, when I first started, I was tack welding. Yeah. It was just placement.
Tacking line. Yeah.
Exactly. But learning at such a baseline how to lay a good tack, I never thought was going to help me so far in my career.
For sure. A tack that won't break when you go to weld. That matters.
Right? Sometimes I get something that's fabricated from somebody else just because of the way the shop's running that day. And it's just like, okay, we really need you to weld this and we need it done quick. So we're putting you on it.
That's the worst sound ever.
It is.
When you hear a tack pop somewhere with your hood down and you have no idea what just let go.
Yep. You don't know if it's the backside of what you're doing. Yeah. You don't know if it's the other side.
Now everything's out of square. Like, what happened?
Now you have to stop, hope that it doesn't pull too far, grab some clamps. Exactly. So a lot of the time when I do work like that, I'll just look over everything, maybe reinforce my tack. Actually, usually reinforce my tacks. But something so basic that can help so much. And then on top of that, I like to be the kind of, or I've always strived to be the kind of fabricator that I'm not just the fabrication. So for the longest job that I had, I was very much start to finish. I still am in some ways, but some days I'm just a welder. Some days I'm just a fabricator. It really depends.
In a bigger company, there's specific roles,
yes.
right?
So I get kind of moved around at this company, but yes, it's I'm welding for a week or 2 days, and then I'm fabricating for a week or 2 days. You know what But at the places that I've been and the places that I preferred and the jobs I loved the most in my career were always start to finish. So I was cutting, drilling, prepping all of my material, getting everything. And if I was making 20 of something, I was prepping everything for 20. If I was doing 2, prep everything for 2, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Go over, even if I'm doing anything more than I'd say 4 pieces, I'm making some sort of jig on the table or I'm making some sort of setup, right? Getting all the fabrication, getting everything ready. And then it's just like, all right, I need somebody to check it. There's always got to be somebody, right? Second set of eyes. Once that's done, it's like, all right, full steam ahead. Yeah, exactly. And then to have that final step right before it gets painted or whatever, the inspection of your welds. Because if you were laying bad welds, but you had it perfectly fabricated, you're not going to stay at a good job, right?
No.
It's the same with, if everything's out of square, but your welds look great, doesn't matter. You're going to
Also
cut them off.
good. Yeah, also no good.
So to me, it's a very much, you have to be a good welder if you're going to be a good fabricator, whatever that field is, whether you're TIG welding, stick welding, MIG welding, it doesn't matter. You have to have those hand in hand, I find. So as much as I'm a bit of a welder, I'm much more of a fabricator.
Has it crossed your mind to go for your Fab Red Seal?
That is the red seal that I want.
Oh, that's the one you're going for.
That's the one I'm going for. Sorry, I didn't clarify.
Yeah, because I have both. I have
And
a
that's fair.
welding and Fab.
Yeah, so I've never done stick. I think I did one bead once, 5 years ago. Actually, no, it was my first company, so almost 6 years ago now. And so
That's the nice thing about Fab is that it's just a written test. There's no practical piece to it, right? So it's hard.
And I think for the jobs that I kind of think of for long term, I think the fabrication could really help. And then if I want to do my welding red seal after that, and
they actually knock hours off. Did you know that?
I did not know
For
that.
every
That's
successive seal, they knock hours. So after my first seal, the next seal I needed less hours. My next seal I needed even less.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, I actually didn't know that.
Because you can stack them. You can stack them.
Sweet, because that's what I mean, right? Like if I want to start with the fabrication, because at heart, like I said, I'm a fabricator. I prefer to actually build these cool things that I've done over my career. That's why I feel like I'm plateauing. So I'm like, okay, now I'm just doing the same sort of things day in and that's all right. And right, it's the ebb and flow, but that's the fun part. That's the fun part for me.
That's what I miss the most. Like, I mean, there's days where I remember spending all day welding. Like, you're doing 1/2-inch fillets on giant tanks, and it's like weeks of welding. Yeah,
hood down the whole time.
Yeah, and I kind of miss those days sometimes where you're just like listening to your music, head bobbing, just humming along, burning wire.
It is nice.
It's kind of nice. You get sick of it, but what I really miss is I miss working on big projects. I miss working on, like, we would build components for the mining industry that were in the tons, like 5-6 ton pieces, and there were like 300-400 parts involed.
That's really cool.
That's so fun.
That's what I'm saying.
That.
See, you know exactly what I'm saying. See, I've never worked on something like that, but that's really cool to hear.
Yeah.
That is the fun stuff when you're actually...
That stuff's out west. We do the big stuff out west. You guys do all the fancy TIG stuff in the east. We do the heavy stuff in the west.
I love the TIG, though, and I know that there's little less money to be made in TIG, especially because, like you said, it's the littler things.
And it's slower,
So satisfying to me.
She loves TIG. I'm old school mining guy, stick and flux core. Let me rip.
Fair enough. I mean, hey, nowadays I'm doing flux core
all the time. Yeah,
like it's very
more metal core.
Very exactly.
Yeah. So in the U.S. they don't have a fab program. You're working with more U.S. partners now. The Fabtech is a U.S. thing. You have a passion for students, and you're thinking about getting into teaching. Is there a convergence there? Could you be Haley the fabricator promoting the dyeing fabrication trade, which it is a dying trade, in the U.S., or do you care if it's Canada? Do you care if it's wherever?
It's wherever the wind blows me, honestly. I mean, I understand that there's, like I said, I was looking at all the automation and all there's obviously a certain chunk of the fabrication world that, yes, is just going to get bulldozed, and it's just efficiency is number one.
Yeah.
But there will always be certain things that you just need somebody with an actual cognitive brain.
Yeah. The maintenance side of industry will never be automated.
Exactly.
Never.
You can't.
You can't.
And even with the welding, you could be said the same thing. There's so many robot welders. So anything that you're doing a production of, there's no need for production welders. You can just have those robots going in and doing that, right? So growing with the industry is going to be the biggest challenge, but none of us can foresee that, right? We can come to events like this and see where it's headed and see where it's come to so far. Because I honestly, I've learned so much over just yesterday that I didn't know before coming here, right? That it's just like, oh, wow, okay, I didn't know that this was a thing. And people are learning on this niche or fixing this problem in the industry. It's so cool to see. That's why I say, when you asked me earlier if there was one company that wanted to take me over, 100%. Because I was like, if there's somewhere where I can fit in and excel and really learn about just that one thing.
Yeah. At least until the next plateau.
Right? Then it'll be like, okay, what else can I do? Give me a raise.
Which is fine, because I'm like that too. It's like,
promotion.
This has been awesome. I love this job. I don't really badmouth any job I've ever had because I learned something at every single one. But there was the day that I left.
Yes.
And it was the day where I was like, I've outgrown these pair of pants. Yeah. Time to move into my Jolly Jumper or whatever it is, my overalls or, like I keep growing both physically and intellectually. But
That's all right. It's a good balance.
Do you, in terms of your career, would you ever want to go back to just straight up private industry? Like if, a nuclear power plant calls up Haley and says, you know what, $200K, you're done with the internet, you're done with that, you're just going to come work now. Is that a no?
I don't say no to anything.
Yeah.
I don't think I could ever say for sure no. Yeah. But because I don't like closing doors.
Yeah, that's
I like
kind of
having
a tough
my
pill
options,
to swallow.
right? Especially when you're dealing with the big bucks to be made and those kind of things. Even last night I had somebody telling me that they're like, you should be going up north in the pipeline. Like, what's 6 months? Like that blink of an eye, it's done, and you're making so much. And I'm like, yes and no.
I don't like that work.
I don't.
Yeah.
I said this at the beginning of my career. I said, I don't think I could ever be away from my family that long. Yeah. I don't think I could ever just, you know what I mean, be that invested and shut off. Yeah. But there's so many people that, what's 6 months?
Yeah. No,
right?
I never liked it, but now I travel for 3 months a year and, well, it's different.
Yeah.
Right?
Right? And it's just like, it's to each their own. And it's also the different times of your life. Like, I might be saying no now, but like you said, in the future, I might plateau and I might get to the point where I'm like, you know what? I just want to
get back in industry. Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, I can't sit still. So if I ever fully step myself out of the actual fabrication, which I kind of hope not to, even if it's just with teaching, even if that's the way that I'm still on the floor and actually working.
And involved.
Yeah. Then so be it, right? I don't want to close any doors. I don't want to say no to anything, but we'll see where the wind takes me.
The company you work for now, did they give you any instructions coming to Fabtech? Were they like, hey, can you find us a good deal on a chop saw, or can you find, is there equipment that you've seen here that you're going to go back to your boss and be like, hey, you should be looking at one of these things. It's going to help us save money.
I thought about it. There's so many moving parts in my company right now. They're going through so much change that it's all upper management right now. There's not very much investment in the main ground floor. And we've actually I was talking to my boss about it because he knows, my supervisor knows. But the CEO and the actual people that would be ordering those kind of things, they're running around with chickens with their heads cut off right now. There was no, hey, can I be helped? They got enough on their plate right now. Just didn't line up.
Come back with a shopping list being like, we need these.
Yeah. It would have been nice. I'm sure it would have been nice. And my supervisor would have been like, yeah, get us a new product. Get us, what I mean? Get us all the new equipment. But it's also there's just so many people above him that, like I said, have so many bigger fish to fry right now at this time in the company that it doesn't seem like that was going to be a thing. But knowing that I don't know where the wind's going to take me after this, I've definitely kept an open mind with everybody that I've been talking to, trying to get as many business cards as I can, because you never know where I'm going to go next.
That's right.
And to be able to say, hey, I was just at Fabtech, even though that was however many months ago, right? If you want, I can get in contact with the companies that I met. I met with so-and-so from this company.
I got a connection for you. I got a network for you.
Exactly. And then I can maybe take that on to the next job. Or maybe my boss does notice that I was here. The CEO does notice that I was here.
You run into him being like, oh, hey.
Yeah, I was there. And he'll be like, did you see any of this? And I'd be like, yeah, I did. Do you want contacts? Let's set up a meeting,
What about for yourself? Welders are notoriously bad for the endless side hustles. We're always like, hey, hey, I have a job, only one, why not three, right?
It's always
So you got your real job, you got this market where you're working to support the trades with Fabtech. What other stuff do you got going on the side? What other projects are you working on, like in the Haley world?
Nothing quite currently, but like I said, so because I've got so much coming up with writing my Red Seal and I'll be studying all winter long. I've got my trip in the spring. Then it's just like, okay, so me and my boyfriend have been talking about buying a house. We've been talking, okay, where's going to be the best to relocate and things like that. Even if we just move to a new city and we don't buy a house yet, like there's
to scope it out.
Yeah, we're scoping kind of everything right now, and I feel like I'm at this very transitional spot in my life where this next year, I guarantee 6 months from now, I'm not going to be almost the same person that I am right now, because it's just there's so many things that I can see for myself that are coming up that it's just like I'm not sure.
Haley, episode 3 shows up with a bright red mohawk. And it's like, oh wow, okay, here we are.
Maybe not that far, but yeah, who knows? Honestly, who knows?
What do you want? What's left on your bucket list today? You're flying out tomorrow. What do you got left to do? What do you want to make sure you do?
So there was a few that I walked by, like I said, when I was a little zoned out and just kind of browsing, because like I walked around the whole building. Today, I think I'm going to focus on the west building. That I saw what I needed to see, at least in my opinion, for the south building. If I wanted to go back, I always can. But there was somebody that I had met last night that I'm going to try and see if I can meet up with. She wanted to show me one of the finishing. That's why I said I'm going to try. Yeah. I really want to check out the finishing, just because I didn't really get to see any of it yesterday.
Is that Lexi from Dynablade?
No, but I'm sure I'll meet her as well.
Because she's always, they always have great finishing products.
Okay, yeah, I'm sure. Oh well, look out for Lexi now. Yeah, there'll be so many cool things. And I mean, I didn't actually get to see ESAB yesterday. I ended up checking out some of the other bigger companies. It's just there's just so much, like I said, and it's only one day for me. So it's just there are quite a few that are still on that list that I walked by where I was like, okay, now I want to loop back around and check them out, just see what they've got.
What about the speaker sessions? Have you gone to any of the speaker sessions?
Unfortunately not. So by the time my head stopped spinning in the late afternoon yesterday, I realized most of them had finished.
Yeah, they're usually in the mornings and the afternoons. Yeah.
So I am actually hoping that after this, I can head over, take a look at that before I get onto the shop floor, and then I can spend the rest of the day on the shop floor. That's kind of the hope.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then in terms of like anything you'd like to buy for yourself, have you looked around? Because like, I mean, I've done it 2 Fabtechs in a row where I buy myself a welding machine on the last day because they're cheap here. They don't want to fly back with them. And I always tell everyone, do your swag run. People bring things to Fabtech that they don't want to take home. The whole point is to sell them.
Yeah, right.
So last year I ended up buying a welder for $50, brand new, because they're like, we don't want to take it. Make me an offer. I was like, $50 down in my suitcase. Let's go.
No way.
Right? I did that. And I did that 2 years ago. So I got like 2 cool little welders in my garage that I got like for dirt cheap at Fabtech. My whole torch set's from Fabtech. Like, there's things I pick up. Have you done your swag run yet? Have you gotten the bag and filled it up with stickers and stuff?
I did do quite a bit yesterday, but I also flew with just a personal item. No carry-on, no check bag.
Well, that's a tactical error.
I know.
Next time.
I can do a check bag on the way home. But no, I honestly hadn't anticipated it. I do have my welder at home. But like I said, with so many moving parts in my world, at least at this point, I can't really bring too much. And also like, so I've got like a shed right now. It's not the easiest setup for welding. I can do things. I can do stuff with my bike and no problem and everything. But right at the current moment, there's not too much room for growth in there. So I'm hoping, I mean, I'm hoping that when I get a new spot, when Fabtech comes back around, and it'll be in Toronto, like I said, in a year or two, then I can go crazy. Then I can really load up my shop.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah. You know what I mean? That's what I said. There's so many moving parts right now. It's hard to say anything's definite, but it's in the future. I can see it.
All right, last question. For somebody who's never gone to a Fabtech, now that you've been at your own, especially as a Canadian woman, what would you recommend that as soon as they get off the plane, day one, start checking these things out? Like in terms of what you've learned about timing, the size, the people, the events, you know, what advice could you give someone that's coming to the show?
Yeah, some good questions. And I'd say I did like the fact that I mapped out the floor before I stuck to anything. I really learned where everything was going to be to then dive in.
Kind of give yourself a checklist of
A
places
little
you want to
bit,
hit.
yeah. Definitely look at the maps beforehand. Like scroll in.
Because it is huge.
It is huge. It is, especially when there's 2 buildings. To know, so the one thing I didn't see, at least personally, before I came here was that everything was going to be set up proper sections. I saw that like, okay, all the welding seems to be over here. But to see specifically, okay, this is the
welding, finishing, bending, forming. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And to know, okay, what you're looking for, dive into that and just walk each aisle before you commit. Learn
I love
where everything
going up
is.
and down every
I
aisle.
do.
Yeah.
It's a lot of walking. Wear comfortable shoes. That's the other big tip.
Don't wear high heels.
No.
Wear sneakers.
Who cares about looks at this point?
It's a ton of work here.
I only brought my runners so that I wasn't tempted to wear anything else because I was like, if you wear anything else, your feet are going to hurt.
Yeah.
And I've walked probably at least 20,000 steps. I don't know. I've lost track.
You probably crushed that.
In one day.
Yeah, for sure.
So if I was in anything else other than my runners, I'd be so sore today. So.
I got good shoes.
Good.
But,
Good.
Yeah, I brought a pair of dress shoes once that weren't good.
No.
Oh my God. I thought I was going to die.
I heard some people with blisters last night.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of people leaving the party last night with bare feet.
Yes. I walked out with one of the girls in bare feet because, 100%. If you're not in comfortable shoes, that'd be my biggest piece of advice. Comfortable shoes.
Be ready to walk. Yeah.
And be ready to walk. Just do a lap. Just see where everything is. Like, get yourself familiar.
You got 3 days, right? So,
right. There's lots of time to see all the things you want. So figure out where things are. There's no rush to get to anything. If you get pulled outside and you find something cool, go right ahead.
Stick with it. Yeah. Play with the toys.
Yeah. They've got so much cool stuff here to see. So just enjoy it.
Awesome.
Just enjoy it.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show with us and taking the time. I know you've had a really busy couple days. So, I hope that you have a great today and tomorrow and you get to knock off those checklists. And we'll see you at many more Fabtechs to come.
Yes, you will.
Any shout outs for anybody? Anyone? How do people follow you? How do people find you?
Haley the Fabricator on Instagram. And you can send me an email anytime for any sort of promotions. And
perfect.
That's about it. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. And for the people following along on the podcast, thanks so much for being a part of this great Fabtech series, which is now a tradition with us. We still got, I think, 3 or 4 more to do in the next 2 days. We're going to be busy. Watch them all, comment, share, download, and also participate in our new fan mail option on our website on Buzzsprout. All right, thank you very much, and I'll catch you at the next episode.
We hope you enjoyed the show.